And good morning, my beautiful America. It's Monday, March the 6th, 2023. And we are back here in Eastern North Carolina. And for all of those who are tuning in, this is Common Sense America. I'm Eden Hill, and I am high on my Zabar's coffee this morning. It's so good to be back with each and every one of you this morning. And thank you to Will Baker and I-95. Thank you for your music. And you know what? My husband and I were on I-95. Over the past couple of days, we had the great opportunity, thanks to CPAC, thanks to American Liberty News, we had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., to be on Radio Row, to be at CPAC, to be amongst other amazing radio greats in the industry. I got to see Chris DeGaulle, I got to see Tony Katz, I got to see WMAL, Newsmax, and all the great Americans there who are reporting the news. And thank you so much to the CPAC team and my friend Dave Mohal, who runs CPAC Radio Row. Year in and year out, I am just applaud. Thank you so much for all the work that you did. Thank you, American Liberty News, for hosting me and for the amazing dinner on Friday night. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing, bringing truth to the news. For all of you who are tuning in, or you may be watching this show later in the evening or whenever you have a chance to sit down and watch the podcast. We are live 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live streaming on all social channels. Go over to YouTube and subscribe. Our numbers are going up, and you know why? Because we're talking about some very hot button item issues, including child abuse, assault, rape, and charges that are going against parental rights, especially in our school systems, and especially as we are fighting for school choice and education. And here in the state of North Carolina, we have had an amazing and very powerful set of parents come to the forefront talking about what happened to their child. And you know what? More and more is coming out. We have more parents telling their stories. We have people listening. And you know what? While I was at CPAC, I had the opportunity to meet with some great Americans who heard the stories I was sharing and want to help. So you know what, Onslow County? We're getting ready. We are going to provide opportunities for these families to be able to stand up, let their voices be heard, because you know what? There's a lot more happening in the schools than that's really being talked about. Oh, and also, save the date, ladies and gentlemen. We have the candidate for Lieutenant Governor of the great state of North Carolina, Hal Weatherman. He's going to be joining the show March the 27th, 9:30 a.m. Save the date. We're going to be talking all things education. But until then, we have a lot of great things to talk about here this morning. We are going to bring over to the show in just a few minutes. We're going to be separating our segments a little bit differently today and through this week. But since we got back from CPAC, I'm jam-packed with amazing new guests for the rest of this month to at least kick off. And then I hit the road again yet tomorrow to Chapel Hill. And then I am headed to Jersey and Pennsylvania in April, and then Orlando in May. I am on the road. Yes, I am on the road. And I am grateful to my husband, who is such an amazing support. You may not see him at the events I attend, but he is behind the scenes. He's the brains, and I guess you could say I'm the beauty. Speaking of beauty, to all of those women out there who saw my outfit at CPAC on Friday, for all of those who were checking it out and wanted to know what I was wearing, for all of those out there, the coat, the red coat and the red pants were Cabby clothing from last season. And then the shoes, Betsy Johnson, houndstooth, rhinestone boots, were from Macy's on sale. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. But thank you to each and every one of you who complimented me on the outfit. I just wanted to let you know where you can pick up the coat, where you can pick up the pants, and where you can pick up the shoes. So on that note, we have a great week ahead, and we have a lot to talk about this week. We have coming to the show this morning a returning guest from Young Voices, who's with in the United Kingdom. We're going to be talking about the coronation of King Charles. We're going to be talking about Harry and Meghan and how they have been asked to leave Frogmore. We're going to be talking about the future of the monarchy. We're going to be talking about what that looks like, and we're going to be talking about it on the international stage. So, yes, it's a little different, but I love talking to Portia. She always brings such a great perspective to the show. I enjoy young voices and their talents and their gifts to the show. So, we're going to be talking with her at about 9:15 this morning. Also, the rest of the week are going to be specific themes. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the great state of Virginia, the young Republicans. We're going to be talking with a candidate who's running for state Senate. Wednesday, we have, let's see, we're going to be at Chapel Hill. One of my amazing clients who speaks on lessons in leadership will be speaking at Chapel Hill on Tuesday evening. So Wednesday, I'm going to be doing my podcast from Chapel Hill area, and we're going to be talking about a couple different things that have happened at Chapel Hill with Turning Point USA and with other organizations. And then Thursday, we're going to be talking Jersey. And Friday, we're going to be talking New York. We have a lot of great guests. And I wanted to put up here on the screen one of my favorite guests who joined us at CPAC was my dear friend Barry Morgenstein. He is a professional photographer, and here I am showing us on Radio Row CPAC. To my left in the image is Victoria Churchill. She is with American Liberty News, and she joined me as my co-host for Friday morning. And then Barry Morgenstein is to the right. He is a famous New York photographer, and he is going to be doing headshots in the DC area at the end of April. And I wanted to promote that for him. He is an amazing photographer. He has worked on many of my clients over the years doing their headshots. So I just wanted to let you know, and this is us here at CPAC as we were doing interviews talking about some of the just unique opportunities that he has had over the years with meeting with famous people. He has a beautiful portrait of Netanyahu and President Trump together. And every time I see it, I get choked up. It's just an absolutely stunning picture. But then if you look here at all of these other pictures I have, hold on a second, let me bring it up here. Here is a screenshot of New York City's top headshot photographer, Barry Morgenstein, is returning for his famous weekend of headshots in DC, VA, and Maryland areas Saturday and Sunday, April the 22nd and 23rd. If you would like to connect with him, hop over to Facebook and reach out to him if you're going to be in the DC area. He's based out of New York and New Jersey, and I see him a couple times a year, but I would love if you guys would reach out to him if you're interested in having him do your headshots. I'm going to be doing it as well. I need updated headshots. Also, I'm going to keep that up on the screen for you guys. His information is at the bottom. You can see where he is on Facebook, or there is his email account right there for you to connect with him. Also, a seat at the table. Like I said, we're going to be talking about Jersey on Thursday. A seat at the table, choose freedom. April the 27th, 2023. That's going to be in Somerset, New Jersey. And it's a mini event. It's a one-day event. It's an annual convention put on by the Common Sense Club, put on by amazing people. Common Sense Club, American Conservative Union, CPAC, and the Local 102. There's going to be a lot of amazing people from the great state of New Jersey coming around to talk about the conservative issues and what is ahead in the future of our nation. We have a lot of amazing things we need to talk about, a lot of important issues, and a lot of things that are really facing our next generation. And if you haven't noticed by now, I love talking about our next generation. I love talking about education. I love talking about our parental rights, school choice. All of those topics are just very important in this day and time. Also, election integrity and what is ahead for the campaign seasons. What's ahead for all of our states? What's ahead for the battleground states? What's ahead here for the great state of North Carolina? So we're going to be talking each day about different states and what is ahead for each and every one of those states. Also, I am posting right here a couple of our news links that we're going to be talking about this morning. Like I said, we have our UK guest, Portia. She's going to be talking a little bit about what is happening with the coronation of the king and queen consort. There's a lot of interesting scheduling and things of nature going on. Also, page 6, of course, I have to bring up the New York Post, people. Harry and Meghan hold the upper hand on King Charles' coronation, says the source. It's interesting that they have the upper hand. I have trouble believing that, even though I do go to the New York Post for most of my media on some days. And then also, I am also going to share with you Project 2025. The Associate Director of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project joined me on Friday at CPAC. He is the Associate Director of the Transition Project for the next Republican president, and he was at Heritage Foundation with us on Friday. And here is the link to go check out Project 2025. There's something very important about what is happening right now in our nation's history. We look to a certain person who is, quote, elected to office and who's, quote, running things from Washington, D.C. But, you know, I continue to say lessons in leadership and looking for a leader. We don't have a leader right now. The only leader I know of that's really running the things is a special counsel, you know, kind of, you know, under the radar, that's making things move or not happen. And, you know, you look at all of the lack of effective leaders that we have in our nation's capital. And I hope it's awakening each and every one of you, because we have got to get ready for 2024. We have got to get ready. We've got to cast our vote. We've got to get the word out there. We can't just sit at home and talk about it and not do anything. And I know a lot of people are just so discouraged with what we're seeing happening. Are we going to lose this? Are we going to lose that? Are we going to be attacked? What is happening next? There's so many questions and uncertainties, and there's a fragmented culture that I see happening. I saw it at CPAC. I see it as I talk to different people. I see it here in the local area. I see it all over the place. You can't help but see culture fragmentation of what is happening. Is it because of the cultural wars? Yeah, that's a big part of it. But there's other issues. We have someone who's leading the nation or not leading the nation. In our nation, we look like laughing fools and sitting ducks. Like, what is going to happen next? So all of these topics we're going to be talking about here at Common Sense America. Hashtag common sense. Where is the common sense? Hashtag America, not shortened term, not China, not Russia. Hashtag America. Yeah, that's what it's about. That's why I have that flag up there behind me. I took it down for a couple days only for personal reasons. That's my spring closet. It got warm here and I had to get clothes out of there. But it's all about God, family, and country right there. My husband, my grandfather, my father-in-law, I know I probably am beating a dead horse when I talk about it, but it is. It's all about God, country, and family. So we have got to keep these things in mind. Whether you watch this show at the end of your day, middle of your day, or you watch it days later, we have got to talk about the truth and stop turning our heads to what's happening, whether it's in our backyards, whether it's in our nation's capital, whether it's in Congress, whether it's in our state assemblies, whether it is in our schools. Stop turning your heads and turning the other way. We have got major issues in this great country of ours and this state, and we got to talk about it. Yeah, we may agree to disagree, but we've got to talk about it. So we are going to talk about a lot more things, and that is with Portia. She's coming over to the show, and I'm just going to put up her banner really quickly. Portia Berry-Kilby, she's with Young Voices. She's the director at All Party Parliamentary Group for International Freedom of Religion or Belief. And she's been to the show many times. I adore her. I love talking pop culture, but I also love talking about what's happening on the international stage. And, you know, as we were just talking about the lack of leadership in Washington, D.C., it looks as though we will not have any type of political representation during the coronation of King Charles III. So I'm bringing over Portia right now. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you back here at Common Sense America. And you look lovely. What time is it there right now?
It's 2:15, so 2:15, as the Americans would say.
At 2:15. Oh my goodness. How are you doing, Portia?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, good, good. I just got back from CPAC and Conservative Principal Actions Conference, and still high on the energy and being around great Americans and excited to see what happens in 2024. But I wanted to talk with you. I know we're going to talk about the coronation and all of those things because I'm very interested in that. But wanted to talk with you from the UK perspective. You are representing Young Voices, but also you're the director and leader of many things in the UK. What do you guys see from your standpoint with regards to America on the main stage, with everything that's happening, the balloons, the train derailments, all of these mysteries or lack thereof? What does UK? What are they saying? What do you hear? What are the rumblings, if you will?
I think there's a lot of anticipation coming up to the next election in 2024 as to which way it will go, and indeed who will be the various nominees on both sides,
Mhm.
especially as we get into the primaries. I think there's a lot of chatter about various people there. And as always, on Twitter, various things will break through. It's like, is this going to actually be the case? What about Nikki Haley? Maybe, maybe not. So that sort of chatter. But I dare say, regretfully, a lot of the news out of the US features on Harry and Meghan. So
You're kidding me. Are you serious?
I say it, it is true. And maybe my news sources are just a wee bit too lowbrow, but Harry and Meghan still dominate. I think Meghan probably gets more airtime than Joe Biden. More the pity.
Oh
So
my gosh. Really? I had no idea that they were dominating the news sources.
I mean, especially on the front pages of our papers, like Prince Harry has been dominating the past few days. Meghan Markle's not far behind. They definitely get more headlines than Joe Biden, especially in the tabloids. So yeah, it's a sorry state of affairs. But similarly, you probably hear a lot about the royals in terms of British news as well.
Yes, yes, we hear. So I'll be honest with you. One of my pastime pleasures was always just watching Princess Diana growing up and collecting everything on her. And so, go to present time. I love following William and Catherine and their kids, and I look forward to the Christmas cards. I look forward to the public appearances. Because the kids are so adorable, and that's just my reality. So I do that on Instagram. I have fun on Instagram looking at that, but in regards to seeing what they do in the national press lines, I do see Harry and Meghan. I didn't realize that they were dominating more than an American president, but that does say a lot. We'll just leave it at that. But I noticed that some of the news articles I sent you, Harry and Meghan are still, if you will, what was the term? Page 6 said Harry and William still hold the upper hand on King Charles's coronation. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think this is all around, will Harry and Meghan make it to the coronation? Will they, won't they?
Mhm.
I think it's overblown that Harry and William hold the upper hand. At the end of the day, there is a hierarchy, and one of the greatest hierarchies still going is
Mhm.
that of the British royal family.
Mhm.
And people have their place. Harry and Meghan might speak out of place, but that doesn't mean they get to call all of the shots. So I think it will be a very carefully decided process as to the inviting of them, even the advice as to whether they accept or not. There's been some rumors, though I dismiss them, that the date of May the 6th for the coronation was decided because it's Archie's fourth birthday.
Oh, is
I
it
think
really? I didn't
it
realize.
is. I would be shocked if that was simply chosen to kind of slight the Sussexes. I think it's as good a day as any, and it's just a coincidence. I don't think there's any slight meant there. And if anything, it should be great for on your birthday to attend a once in a lifetime occasion such as a coronation. So yeah, I think reports of them holding the shots are a bit overblown, and at the end of the day, the king is the king, and long may he reign. I don't think he's really as worried by Harry and Meghan as sometimes the media lets on.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about the coronation. I know May is gonna be here before we know it. We're already in the beginnings of March, and I already am talking about all the things I have to do in April and May. So I know it's gonna be here. What will we see leading up to it? I have the website up here as to what they already have planned. But what are your experiences in saying, okay, here's what we're going to see on the international stage in regards to such a huge event? And obviously, this hasn't happened since Queen Elizabeth, but it sounds like Queen Elizabeth, reading some of the BBC reports, so that Queen Elizabeth was it was more moderate. And then this is going to be more on a international world stage where he incorporates the grandkids, he incorporates that next generation. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's an interesting contrast with Queen Elizabeth's coronation because she had far more people there and there was a lot more pomp and circumstance.
Mhm,
And King Charles has said since the get go that he's going to have a more watered down, a little more tailored coronation on a smaller scale. But at the same time as scaling back, he's trying to diversify, shall we say, what's going on. So, be that more modern music, be that a greater representation of faiths and beliefs,
mhm,
um, so it's kind of you're scaling back, but you're also expanding. So I think the actual end result will be interesting. And my concern is that it won't feel like a coronation. And
mm,
at the end of the day, the British crowning of the monarch is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Maybe you might get a couple, but for most people living in the UK today, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And it's the last of its kind in Europe. So the fact that it might be watered down in the name of diversity, I'm a little bit apprehensive about. But at the same time, I think we should have hope that it will still be a proper, spectacular affair. And you
right.
can't get around the fact that a coronation is a coronation. It's one of those most remarkable things. There is a sacred element to it, there is the anointing of the king.
Mhm,
Um, and as many people will know, the actual anointing of the monarch when it was Queen Elizabeth wasn't televised. And there was a whole debate as to should we put this on the screen or not.
right,
But because it was deemed such a special and sacred moment, it
right.
wasn't. So I think that speaks to the gravity of the occasion. And no matter how many NHS nurses you have represented, I
Yeah.
don't think that can detract fully from the grandeur of the event.
That's interesting that you brought up the whole diversity piece. And you say it could have the potential to be watered down from that aspect. And do you think the monarchy is slightly or even more halfway moving away from the pomp and circumstance of the traditions of what the monarchy stood for? And granted, that time period of Queen Elizabeth's coronation, that was quite some time ago, but the traditions are the traditions for a reason. So do you think that that they're in a more progressive, state, if you will?
You see, I think by virtue of it being the monarchy and the head of the Church of England, a figurehead for the nation, for the Commonwealth, there
Mhm.
is a natural diversity built in to the occasion, built into the monarchy. So
Mm,
I think if that is lent into, that's great. And I think Commonwealth representation is incredibly important as it speaks to the far reaching, the bounds of the monarch.
mhm,
But at the same time, I don't think that isn't diversity for diversity's sake. I think there's a reason behind that. I
mhm,
think filling pews with NHS nurses, we wouldn't be in this situation had COVID not risen its, dirty head. So I think that is diversity with poor reasoning behind it. And if that
mm,
is kind of tick box, let's be representative of all professions, but with a focus on the NHS, you're
mhm,
kind of missing the point in
mhm,
terms of what is the monarchy, what should be celebrated. I think the
mhm.
very nature of this is the figurehead of the UK, that is diverse and inclusive in and of itself, as it stands for all, and no group is singled out.
That well said. Well said to that. That needs to be talked about more and more. That's well said to that. And I will probably pull that clip and share it all over the place because that's what we need to hear. That's what we need to hear. Talk to me about some of the things that we will see leading up to the coordination, more from the countryside. What will the Commonwealth do during that time period and leading up to the day of the event?
So leading up to the event, I guess there's various events going on, kind of building momentum. And there's a bank holiday, so a public holiday, the Monday after the coronation, and a push to get local community initiatives going across the UK. And
Mhm.
that will build on what inevitably will be a lot of street parties on the weekend of the coronation. I
Mhm.
think often you'll see photos of the coronation for Queen Elizabeth and think, this is spectacular. What a far gone age, it has something of magical air about it. But hopefully that will be recreated. And I think that was partly recreated for the Jubilee celebrations last year. And hopefully it will just build on that and be even more spectacular. Because yes, a jubilee is a rare occurrence when it's for such a number as Queen Elizabeth, but also a coronation is. I hope it is ingrained in people's minds as a fantastic day.
Yes, yes, most definitely. Also, let's talk about in regards to the coordination and the day of the coordination, what do we knowing that a lot of the American press will already be over there covering is similar to Princess Diana and Charles' wedding, right? And similar to
Mhm.
the Jubilee and Queen Elizabeth's passing. What will we see on the day of the coordination? And I loved how you talked about the services of the Church of England. And it's almost as though it's a prayer over King Charles and
Mm.
the safety of him and leading the nation from the monarch. And talk to us about what that will look like. And obviously, you've never experienced it before, but what you know and what are the traditions that we will look for that day?
There will be lots of pageantry, that's for sure, and a lot of, what would you call it, procession beforehand of
Mhm.
various armed forces, military personnel, but also I think there's meant to be NHS nurses in the procession as well. But, a lot of different groups processing. And at the time of Queen Elizabeth's coronation,
Mhm.
apparently to pass one point for the
Mhm.
entire procession to go through, it took 45 minutes. It was that long. So it won't be that long for King Charles, apparently, but there will be a lot of that. And if you saw anything of the Jubilee, no, not the Jubilee, of the funeral
The
procession,
funeral. Yeah.
yeah, then I'd assume it would be slightly on a larger scale than that, and they were magnificent in and of themselves. So a lot of that, and then a church service with some modern music as well as some traditional, and a gospel choir
Mhm.
um, as well. So hopefully there is something for everyone in it, and it will encourage people to tune in for all of the right reasons. But they will also see centuries old tradition of the anointing of the king, of the crowning of the king with
Mhm.
a crown,
Mhm.
um, and the pledges from the peers of allegiance, which apparently will only be done by Prince William on this occasion,
Oh.
as a figure, as symbolic on behalf of all of the peers,
Mhm.
and as a slightly tailored down, scaled back coronation.
Mhm.
So there'll be a lot of history, but a lot of modernity too, and I
Right,
think hopefully showing the relevance of the monarchy to today.
right, right. Let me ask you this. I have to ask you a political question. So, and you can answer however you want, but I noticed that Biden probably will not be there. And I noticed that his representation really wasn't there during, I believe it was the Queen's passing, things of that nature. What does that say to the Commonwealth? What does that say to the monarch that, the United States, where there was such a powerful relationship with Reagan and Thatcher, there's always been those powerful relationships over the years and Churchill. And now we don't necessarily have that powerful leader at the helm who can represent us and during this time period. Have you caught wind of who could be over there representing us since it sounds like Biden is not going? But what does that look like to people like you as you lead in these certain levels? What does that say?
So I haven't caught wind of who will be coming from the US to the coronation,
Mhm.
though I hope it is someone high profile. I think if an invitation is extended, then surely the president ought to say yes, though for whatever reasons, maybe it has been decided that he shouldn't be invited.
It sounds
And
like
at the end of the day, I think a coronation is for the people under like who have allegiance to the monarch.
Mhm.
So why should the US actually have a center stage role at such an event? I don't think it's a matter of international diplomacy, I think a coronation is for the people who regard and honor the king.
Mhm.
So dare I be a bit controversial, but I'm quite happy if Biden doesn't come. Maybe, the FCGO, the Foreign Office, has a few more concerns about that and think international relations are more important. But I think it should be for, yeah, the people who really do holds the king in high regard.
Yeah. I just had always admired the relationship that Queen Elizabeth and Reagan had, also the relationship that he had with Margaret Thatcher, and the international diplomacy was just so very
Mm.
powerful. It said so much to the world. And so I'm looking for that again. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to having that yet again. Talk to me briefly before I have to let you go. And I just love having you here. I could talk to you all day about everything in the UK. Talk to me a little bit. I wanted people to know what you were doing, or at least your title. Talk to us a little bit. I know that you're with Young Voices UK, but you also are this director. Can you share a little bit about what you do?
For sure. So, I guess with the All Party Parliamentary Group, it's getting parliamentarians from all different parties to do more to promote freedom of religion or belief, which in the US is more commonly called religious freedom.
Yes.
They're a slightly different spec, shall we say.
Right.
So, we do that through Parliament, through the media, and all points in between.
That's really fascinating. So, the freedom of religion, what are you working with all different types of groups? What's that look like?
Yes. So, we work, be it Christians, different denominations of Christians, Hindus, Muslims,
Mhm.
humanists, basically finding commonalities and raising cases where those groups are persecuted for their faith or belief, and to get our UK government to do more about those groups internationally,
Mhm.
um, through the Foreign Office, through trade agreements, to be the voice for the voiceless is a
Mhm.
common phrase that we use
Mhm.
for those groups who are persecuted on the basis of what they believe.
Mhm.
And we maintain that you should be free to believe and change your religion, and to have and to hold your religion, and that is a fundamental human right. And where that human right is violated, often other human rights are also violated.
What are the percentages of Christians in the UK, and then Catholics, and you said humanist and Muslim and Hindu? What does the percentages look like? What's the largest faith group?
So, in the most recent census of the UK, I think it's now over 50% are of no faith, and then Christianity is after that. I don't have the specific
Sure,
numbers, and we
sure,
deal a lot more with international groups rather than
sure,
domestic.
sure.
So yeah, but the most recent census hit several headlines a few months ago with the shifting demographics of faith and belief in the UK.
Really? So you're saying 50% that are no faith whatsoever?
Correct, correct, and I can't remember what it was from 10 years before, but there is a very clear trajectory to increasingly of no faith or of other faiths,
Mhm.
Christianity, being kind of diminished in numbers.
Wow. What does that say to you? I mean, just off with your leadership role, is that something that kind of, was it a shock to you at first when you read that census and the update, because of you wanting to fight for religious freedom? What was your thoughts on that?
I think it was kind of as expected, as I think we've all like, people, at least in the West, have seen a shift away from religion. I
Mhm,
think the issue comes, or the difficulty comes, in making people understand the importance of religion or of belief,
mhm,
in a positive sense, and that those who are persecuted for that on that ground abroad, if they've never heard of religion, if they don't understand what religion is, or if they don't even realize what their set is at all, I
mhm.
think that is an uphill battle, as people need to realize the relevance of religion or belief to them, and how that can be a totally all-encompassing thing in their lives. And if
Right.
you have fewer people holding a set, then it's just harder to make that case.
Yeah, my goodness. I had no idea. That I'm kind of in shock, and I applaud you for what you are doing with religious freedom.
Mhm.
That's very powerful. I'm going to end it on this note, and then I'll let you go. And this is a lighter note. Have you read Spare? Have you read Spare Tire, Spare Change?
No, I can't say I have. I wouldn't really waste my money on it. I think you get the snippets online, and that's more than enough for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a good book to read, and this is what I'm going to promote right now. This is the new book, The Courage to Be Free by Ron DeSantis, who's the governor, America's governor of Florida. He's on a huge book tour right now. He just left Reagan. He was at Reagan Library last night, from what I understand. This is a book to read. Go ahead and just pitch spare. Put it in the trash. It's not worth the
Yeah.
money or just catch the snippets on Megyn Kelly or Here with Portia. But this is the book to read. It is a really great read. What I love about this, and I know you'll really appreciate this, is just the fact that during COVID, during its ugly head, he was one of the great leaders in this country as we look for a leader that kept his state open and really let people live freely during that time period. And it goes all to freedom, 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 freedom. So I am so grateful. As I did that little pitch, I'm so grateful to you, Portia. I love having your presence. I love being around you. I wish we could grab some tea and just go to a local bookshop in the UK and hang out for the day. I think
Absolutely.
we'd be best pals. I absolutely love it over there. But until I get to have you back again, thank you so much. Have a great
Thank you,
week.
Eden.
I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. All the very best, Eden.
Oh, you too. I'll see you soon, Portia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And for all of those who are tuning in, this is Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill. I'm going to take a quick break. It is about 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And then we're going to talk about a couple more things as we get ready for a phenomenal week here at Common Sense America. I'm, getting ready to pack my bags yet again. I'm headed to Chapel Hill tomorrow, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining Common Sense America. And we're back here at Common Sense America. It is just about 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time. It's beautiful Monday, March the 6th. We have a great May, or I'm wishing it's May. Can you tell? We have a great March in store for you. I'm already thinking ahead. I can't wait for May. There's a lot of great things happening in May. And you know what? One of my favorite things is the Blue Angels. I believe they're going to be at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base for the air show this May. So, as you can tell, I have a lot of great things looking forward to. I hope you do too. You know, this morning when I woke up, had my coffee, had my God time, was talking with my husband. I was reading a great devotional by Jenny Allen. She's one of my favorite authors, also faith speakers, and she was talking about the power of our minds, the choices that we make, and what those choices will inspire ourselves, inspire our families, but also the belief of what we have. And that is a God who saves, a God who provides, protects. He is always there. He is a righteous Savior. And she talked about the choices that we make, the choices that we will make in our thought life, in our actions, in our journey, in our relationships. So if you have not had a chance, I'm going to do another book pitch. I don't have it right here in front of me, but I do have it. It is Jenny Allen, and she is on the Bible app for doing quick devotions in the morning, but she also has a couple books out. She's also on Right Now Media, another great app to download. If you are looking for community, if you are looking for something greater, if you are looking to overcome that negative thought life, it is all about faith and it's all about that choice. So just a little encouragement, motivation, and a little devotion for you to kickstart this powerful week in March. The daffodils are out. It is cold, but the daffodils are out, and we are making a great day even better by the conversations we have here at Common Sense America. Hashtag common sense, hashtag common sense education, hashtag common sense UK. And I wanted to list all the things that I read on Twitter just in that quick break. When you type in common sense, I believe there was, let me just double check here. There was, let's see, when I typed it in, probably about 900 tweets in the past hour on common sense. Yes, we are looking for common sense. We're looking for common sense leaders. Do we have them? Well, I do see one great leader. Someone posted on Twitter, common sense by one of the greats. Quote, government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives, end quote. Who said that? President Ronald Reagan. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Many other common sense things that come up. Oh, us on Radio Row. That was one of them. I absolutely love it. This is great. Common sense in the past hour, 938 tweets came in on common sense. Yes, we are looking for common sense. There's a picture of it's put out by the GOP on Twitter. Republicans are trying to bring common sense back to Washington, D.C. And Matt Walsh, for all of you who do not know Matt Walsh, if you have a chance, go follow him on Twitter or follow him on Facebook or whatever social account you do. He posted 18 hours ago on Common Sense. We were minding our own business when suddenly the trans movement came along and demanded that we totally abandon biology, common sense, and truth itself for its sake. Our war against this scourge is a defensive struggle. They started it. They want this fight. Now they have it. 38.4 thousand likes, 2.4 million views, 6,476 retweets. What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? Tells you a lot. Oh, Bill Spadia, one of my favorite radio hosts in New Jersey. Hashtag common sense. He posted a picture of the current Governor Murphy. And yes, he does need to leave New Jersey as soon as possible. Bill Spadia wrote, he would have been gone in 2021 if the GOP didn't sit back and let him wreck the state for 2.5 years. New Jersey turnout was low because both candidates were terrible. We have a new chance in 2023 and again in 2025 to make it right. It's time to fight, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag common sense. That's exactly what I was just saying earlier. as we get ready for these elections, we have got to turn out. We have got to vote. He just said it himself. New Jersey turnout was low. Why is that? So that's on you, who you didn't vote and let Murphy get back in yet again. No, we need common sense. And if you had not had a chance, go follow Bill Spadia, Common Sense, and the Common Sense Club of New Jersey. A great group. And in case you didn't realize, Common Sense America, this podcast was named Common Sense America thanks to my father, but he was greatly inspired by the Common Sense Club of New Jersey and how we need more of their templates in and around the nation. We need a Common Sense Pennsylvania. We need a Common Sense North Carolina. Not the Tea Parties anymore. Tea Party is outdated and a bunch of old bums who don't care about anything but themselves. So what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to cry like babies and do nothing? Or are we going to stand up for it and hashtag common sense? I think that's what we need to do. Okay, I'm going to go on a little rant on our school systems and our education because you guys, when people turn their heads on children being abused, I got a problem with that. When people turn their heads when a child has been raped, I have a problem with that. When an educator has been abused in the school systems and the principal says, turn your head and keep teaching, I have a problem with that. So ladies and gentlemen, I have a problem with the crap that's happening in Onslow County schools right now. And you know, I could say a lot of other choice words, but I'm not going to because that does not do any good. But what we got to do is talk about it and not turn our heads. So I sit here today with Common Sense America, looking at all the new candidates who are running for lieutenant governor, looking at our lieutenant governor who is currently in office. Love to have him come to the show. Love for him to talk about school choice, parental rights, Title IX, and the abuse of our children in the school systems. You guys, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. The conversations I had at CPAC to the conversations I have in the grocery store line. Really? I didn't know that was happening. I knew things were bad, but I didn't realize they were that bad. To the amazing people at all grassroots organizations, conservative grassroots organizations that care about our children. To school board members somehow getting my phone number and sending me text messages when they can't even respond to the parents. That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is a problem. So you thought maybe you got rid of me with your text messages? No, I've just started. Don't mess with me. I got a lot of bullets. I'm shining my armor, ladies and gentlemen. We got to put on that full armor of God. We got to take steps of faith. We got to hold the sword of the Spirit, the helmet of salvation, and we have got to fight the child abuse and the rape and the indoctrination of the woke cults in our education systems. What do you think about that? I'm going to read this to you. Something's going on in our school systems. The North Carolina Spectator put this out about a week ago, but let me just hit the refresh button on your computer this morning. Something's going on in our schools. Well, this is what I'm saying. Something stinks, and it's rats. When you turn your back on children being abused, you got a problem. So stop texting me and start talking to the parents. A couple of weeks back, I wrote a blog post about an Onslow County school policy that interfered with parental rights. I then spoke at the Board of Education meeting where I addressed the same policy, the Board of Education. This is Tyrus Kemp writing this for the North Carolina Spectator. Since then, I've received praise from parents and simultaneously the ire of members of the Board of Education Policy Committee. Go figure. I've also received phone calls from whistleblowers who have revealed an even darker and uglier truth about the Onslow County school system. What I thought was going to be a single blog post has turned into a deep dive research project into public school corruption in Onslow County. Yes, there is. If you guys have not seen the interviews that I have done with the parents and with Tyrus Kemp, I encourage you to go over to Common Sense America on my YouTube channel. They are posted there. We're up to about 500 views and about 1,000 collectively for the 2 interviews. And I'll also tell you this, if you go to their Facebook profiles for the parents who've spoken out, the stories are coming in, ladies and gentlemen. The parents are now speaking out because it just took one parent to cry out and say, this is not going to happen to any other kid. It happened to my kid, and it's got to stop. Something's going on in the Onslow County school systems. Stop turning your backs and do something. Say something. If you have been a victim, say something. Nothing is going to change if you do not say something. And don't you dare use the excuse, it's not going to do anything, because it does. You should hear all the comments that have been coming in and the stories that are being told. My daughter was raped, and she had to sit next to her perpetrator in her class because no one would listen to us and do anything about it. What do you do with that? Well, I'll tell you one thing, the school board, they say I don't have any journalistic principles. Bull crap. You don't have any balls to take care of your kids. Don't mess with the kids. Take care of the kids. They have been hurt one too many times, and you guys are doing anything. What I want you guys to do is just take a few more minutes to hear some of the things that have been coming from these stories ever since we told the story of the parent and what happened to their child. Their child was a bathroom monitor, and their child was assaulted. Another kid came in, played with his balls, laughed a little, giggled a little, twiddled a little, and ran away. That's inexcusable, ladies and gentlemen, and you know it. There are so many comments on here. I don't know where to start. I will tell you another thing. Board of Education removed their Facebook meeting, their YouTube clip. What are they trying to hide? That's my next question. The first post on Facebook had 41 comments and 13 shares from parents. And I'm just going to read a couple. The Onslow County Parents Speak Out. Somebody posted, I have been this mama. Your voice will not be silenced. Somebody else posted, this is some bull. That kid needs to be gone. Another posted, I hate that this happened to your birdie, but I am grateful he is such a strong mom in you. You know we are all with you. And another one wrote, Karen, I am so sad for your sweet birdie and angry. You are all in our prayers. Thank you for speaking out to hopefully keeping this from happening to another precious child. Thank you. Thank you. If it hadn't been for Karen and her husband, Stan, and Tyrus, and then myself talking about this, how many other kids have been a victim? How many? What about the educators who are victims? How many? I'm doing this podcast for your livelihood. And I'm talking to national people for the sake and the protection of these kids, because this has got to stop. For all of you who have not seen the interview, go over to my YouTube page. I'm doing this for you, for your kids, for the future generations. We've got to stop this. I will not stop fighting for you. To Karen and Stan and to Tyrus, shine your armor. We got a lot to do. On a final show note, we have a great 2 new segments for you guys tomorrow. We're talking about the great state of Virginia, candidates, young Republicans, and what we see ahead for Youngkin and a potential presidential run. Wednesday, Chapel Hill. Hot button items up there, from Turning Point USA to the woke indoctrination at Chapel Hill, the private university. You guys don't want to miss a bit of this, but thank you for letting me share my heart and being very bold and honest with you about how we have got to fight this child abuse, this woke indoctrination, and the marriage of the two, because you know it's happening. On that note, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Get out there. Get 10 minutes of walking in. Get that ticker going. Be strong, be courageous, and put on that full armor of God. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.